Ding! We're here. Hello, friends. I don't know what this is. Hello. I'm like a fish. Anything for a good thumbnail, right? Hello. I hope you're doing well. I'm a little late. I apologize. If you were waiting for me, I don't know if anybody was, but I'm here, and I was talking to a friend, student, about she's going to Japan, and I'm super jealous because I love Japan. I used to live in Japan, and miss it very much. And reminiscing a little bit was great. I also have a friend coming next week, and we're going to practice Japanese because he's learning Japanese as well. So it'll be Japanese full couple weeks. It'll be great. I actually have 2 students who are going to Japan, and I'm super jealous. Super good times. Hello. Hey, Wes. Hey, Samantha. How are you doing? I just got on. I'm late, so I'm hopping on. I don't have a set topic, but I thought that I would talk about the importance of having a community when we're singing, because I was just talking to somebody about that as well. Like, if I didn't have community theater when I was first starting out, and other singer-songwriters to talk to and to like commiserate with, I honestly don't know if I would have kept going for very long, you know. And this is 15, 20 years after the fact that I've been doing music, and I almost gave up so many times. And I mean, this has literal implications for your physical voice too, right? Like, if you don't feel like you have the support, if you don't feel like anything is, you know, having an effect outside of your body, like if you just feel like you're doing this kind of for nothing, and you're not seeing any feedback, or you're not having anybody to chat with or to co-regulate your nervous system with, it can be really daunting as a singer. Like, you can be practicing in your shower for many weeks and being like, well, I don't know if anything is happening. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm singing this right. I don't know what's right or wrong, you know? And so what I think happens when you have other people is you end up feeling like, even if the masses aren't giving you any feedback about your voice, you have other people who see you, who hear your real self, your musician self that's inside longing to get out, right? There's been so many people who have just lifted me up, and they're usually other musicians. Like, so many people who follow me here are other vocal coaches. So many people who follow me on my musician page are other musicians, because we love to see what each other are doing. We love to support each other. And I honestly don't feel the same support from people who are not musicians, right? They don't know what you're going through. Other vocalists get what you're feeling in here. They get those moments of, man, I was really struggling for that high note and I couldn't do it. And other vocalists are like, oh, I totally get it. And other non-singers are like, okay, so why are you even trying? You know, you get those moments of like doubt and suspicion, and like, why are you putting yourself through this ridiculously hard thing? Like, I was telling another student today, singing training is way more annoying than normal people think it is. Like, you have to redo little passages over and over and over again, because the voice, unlike anything, is a human instrument. It's not just buttons we push like on the piano. Like, it's very different. And so this is why I teach the way I teach, as a human vocalist, a whole human, because we need to know what is happening inside. And to do that, we have to try and try and try and try again until we get the feeling right, until we get something that's repeatable. And if you don't have the support from the outside, you're just going to more than likely give up, unless you're a very, very persistent, very dedicated person like me. So even through those times of low support and not feeling like I had a musician community around me, I still went for it. I took myself out of music for quite a while before I was in my 20s, and I had kind of given up because I didn't think I was good enough, and I didn't know how I was ever going to get good enough on my own terms, you know. And so being in this weird limbo-y place of I want to be a singer, but I don't know how to continue on, I finally had to just stop shitting on myself, basically. And I needed to find somebody else to share my voice with. And that was my first voice teacher. And luckily, she was great enough to tell me that I was good enough to go audition for a musical. And then those other actors and other singers became my co-regulators. They became my community. They became another support system, because I was like, there are other crazy people out here who want to do the same thing, who are talking about the same things that I think about in my head all the time, about register changes and about placement and like all the nerdy vocal things. There are other people in the world who get me. And that is priceless. Honestly, it's the most important thing. And I started singing better because I had other people to talk to about it, because I had my voice teacher to talk to about it, about the little nitty-gritty details about what I wanted to do with my life, and about the actual techniques part of it, and about being a human and a vocalist at the same time. And then I moved here to Maui, and I found a whole other community theater community, for lack of a better word. And there was a lot of people who were just doing it for fun, and that's great, and they don't care to talk about the craft and all that. But then I started to meet other people who are really into it like I am. And I also found a group of amazing singer-songwriters here as well. And now I'm starting to branch out into the rest of the world as I'm starting to release my my songs into like recording and pitching for sync for TV and film. So that's really has been the most, I don't know, it's been the most transformative thing, because you have a foundation. You have a jumping off point. You have people who will catch you when you fall. You have people you can talk to about your successes and your failures and your instrument and songwriting, and they get you. They hear what you're saying. They don't just tune out because it's not something that they care about or know anything about. And it's life-changing to have that group of people. I made the mistake for a long time of trying to get validation, and I didn't realize that's what I was doing at first, but I was trying to get validation and just like kind of check my songs with my family. And like my dad plays the guitar and he sings, and I have a sister who's a musician, but everybody pretty much was like, they just didn't answer me. They didn't acknowledge when I shared songs with them. I'd be like, hey, listen to this song I just wrote. I'm super excited about it. I would get nothing. And I started to have a feeling that they didn't know how to listen to music that's not fully done. You know, they don't know how to listen to somebody who's not a professional. And that's the case with most non-musicians. Like, that's the case with a lot of musicians. Like, we judge so harshly on what we know from the final product of things and the fully recorded and, you know, smoothed out, auto-tuned, doctored up music that we hear on the radio. And they don't know how that comes to be. They don't know how to get from zero to that. And so they don't know how to give me any feedback. And so that I didn't get any feedback. You know, I don't judge them for not sending me any feedback, because why would I ask somebody for feedback who has not been through what I have been through? You know, it was just really silly. And I mean, my codependency journey is a whole other story, but that's a real thing. It still rears its head sometimes. But it's a real thing that we tend to overvalue other people's opinions who are not musicians, who have not been through the stuff that we go through. And it's a really hard place to put yourself. And it can make your own judgments of yourself worse and your voice worse, which in turn, while you're singing, before you even let any sound out, can cut off the sound, can make things strained, can make things harder than it needs to be, can be the reason why you're over singing, can be the reason why you feel like you max out at a certain range. Why you feel like you don't have any power in certain areas of your voice. Like, it may not necessarily be that your voice doesn't do that, which is what a lot of people think, that my voice just doesn't do that. I hear that phrase constantly. But if we make it in a silly noise capacity, like a cartoon character or something, you can totally make that noise. But for some reason, when we're singing, we put all this pressure on our voice. And if we don't have the support system and other people to talk to about it, and somebody like a vocal coach to explain to you, like, this is absolutely possible for you, then we're just going to give up and think that we have all these limitations and that we have a lack of talent or whatever, when it's really not any of that. It's just that you don't have support. And we need support. We're biologically group-centered beings, right? We're not meant to do anything alone. But for some reason, as creatives, as singers especially, we feel like we have to do everything on our own. We have to just already be that good. We have to just already know all the things. Otherwise, nobody's ever allowed to hear us, which in turn leads to being super, super nervous in front of anybody who ever would hear us sing. And that, of course, makes it's like a negative feedback cycle, right? You're worried about not being good enough. And so you're worried about not being good enough. And then your muscles take that. They take that direction from your brain and they think, oh, okay, we're not good enough to do this, right? And so they tighten up and try really hard and make things happen and force things happen. If you're a fighter, as in the fight or flight or freeze thing. If you're a freezer, it just cuts all the sound off. If you're a flighter, all the breath goes away and you don't have the fuel to make that sound happen that you might need. This is my theory, by the way. I haven't scientifically tested it in a million people. So, but in the many people that I've taught voice, it's been almost always true that it's not that you can't make the sound, it's that you don't believe you can make the sound and your voice is taking direction from your brain. And so when you have other people who sing, to talk to, who write songs, who are nerds about music as much as you are, you start to believe different things. Your brain pathways change, because of course we're going to be super uber harsh on ourselves more than we are to anybody else. We overjudge, we overthink, we worry about things before anything even happens. We create all these scenarios about the worst possible option in our mind. But when we have other people support us, we hear different voices in our ears. We get different input other than just the negative all the time. We get, oh my God, that was so good. Even if you don't believe it at first, that's okay. A little bit of input, let it percolate. Then you have somebody else saying, oh my God, how did you do that? You're so good. Can you teach me? A little bit input. Even if you don't believe it, it's okay. Just let it settle. Don't deny it. Don't push it away. Just be like, thank you. I've had many students who don't even believe me when I tell them that they're doing something correctly. And I'm like, yeah, you are being way harsher on yourself than is necessary. So just believe me, or, you don't have to believe me, I guess, but I don't know why you're paying me otherwise, So in those moments, you start to build up this positive input. And that, I think, has been the most important thing that has changed my life. I have paid vocal coaches. I've paid business coaches. These people, I'm not just paying them to gas me up untruthfully. I'm paying them to help me by showing me a different way than I have been doing, because my way has usually been just negative city the entire time. Right? Because those are the voices that fill up our heads when we just let them run wild. It's the gremlin voice. It's so loud. It's ever appearing. And so the more we can fill up our lives with positive input, then we start to be able to see a different way. And we start to be able to get a handle on that gremlin and put him in the freaking corner, because it's not the truth. It's just our anxious mind. And if you have anxiety, if you've dealt with it, you know how pervasive it can be. So when you have this space with more positive input, when you have these people who are giving you a different way of looking at things than you are inside your head, then you can start to change that balance. You can start to weigh out the positive things, and it starts to cancel out some of the negative things. And this takes work. It's not just like, I guess maybe this is why people have like entourages to like gas them up all the time, so they they can like not go into the depths of sadness as performers. But it really makes a difference, not fake gassing up, but people who've been through what you're going through, who know the struggle, who know all these things that you have felt, and who have had the same voices in their head and found a way past them. Those are the people to surround yourself with, to believe their voices instead of the freaking gremlin voice, which is nasty and is always going to be there. So all this is to say, if you can find at least one person who is on the same path that you are, ideally maybe a little beyond you, so you can start to see what's possible, that is going to change so much. It changes your technique. It changes how you hold yourself, how you hold your body. I owe where I am now to all my coaches, to all of my fellow musicians that have just talked to me about it. They're not telling me that I'm the most amazing singer in the world and I should have a Grammy. They're telling me that I am better than I think I am, which is easy to do because it was a pretty dang low bar before. But this is why I started to say yes to myself, because I started having those voices that were saying, yes, you deserve this. You deserve more of this, what you want. You deserve ease in your voice. You deserve to go sing in front of people. Other people deserve to hear you. And I started to finally believe little bits of it at a time and start to say yes to myself and put myself in rooms, auditions, open mics that I knew I belonged in, finally. And it took me ages to believe that. But having all those people around me really helped. And not listening to the people that don't know what the hell they're talking about also helped. So if I could say anything to you that you remember today, it's surround yourself with people who get it, who don't just like doubt everything that anybody says, who will lift you up and support you, who have been where you are. And number two, don't listen to the people that have not been where you are. Don't ask for feedback from people who have never tried to be a singer, who have never tried to be a musician. Like, they have no idea why you're doing this really difficult thing. They're just like, why wouldn't you want life to be easier? And I'm like, well, I don't know any other way, because I would be freaking miserable if I wasn't singing. So, one or the other, So that's mostly what I wanted to say. Like, this is what I tell people who come to me all the time. Like, even if you're not ready for a group program right now, totally fine. If you have people to jam with, a band, if you have one friend who sings occasionally, if you have a karaoke friend, that's better than nothing, Sing to your dog. Let your dog be your first community member, Your dog doesn't give a shit whether you're off pitch. Your dog loves you no matter what. And if you're singing to them, they'll probably enjoy it. Sing to your kids. They really, they respond to singing so much. Parts of their brains light up when you sing to them that wouldn't before, So create your own community wherever you are. Even if you're not quite ready to be on stage yet, it's okay. You can find people to co-regulate with throughout this journey as well. So if you're just starting to sing in front of people, find one person that you feel safe with. Your cat loves your singing. I love that. Yeah, they're the best. So it's little steps at a time. If you're working on something, find somebody who will not poo-poo everything you're doing. Even if that's somebody who is not a musician right now, I think it's okay as long as they're a safe person who won't just shit on you and say, oh, you don't sound like Ariana Grande, just give up. We don't need those people. Those are not the people to sing for. Those are not the people to bring into your singing circle. So yeah, I think it's just really important to talk about that and to sing about it, to think about all the ways that our environment affects our actual instrument. It's literal physical change, I promise. When you start believing in yourself, your voice changes, and it's harder than you think to just start believing in yourself. All those memes out there on the internet, they're like, don't be sad, just believe in yourself. How? How do you get over that hill? How do you get past that wall, right? You're like, okay, you can put anything on a square on Instagram, but what's the real world application of this? Like in my little post the other day about vocal magic, is like the only meme that I really ever post is like, and it's something that I created because people just say, oh, just have confidence, just be confident. But in reality, if you're a non-confident person, you're like, okay, how do I get it? Is it growing on a tree? Do I go to the bank and pull out some confidence? How do I do that? So it really takes little baby steps. And what I say in that meme is commitment is what guides your first step, not confidence, because more times than not, you're not going to have confidence before you do something big and something new. Like if you're stepping onto a stage for the first time, you're not going to feel confident. You're most likely going to be really nervous as heck, and you're not going to feel the, yeah, I got this feeling, But commitment, that can move your step forward. That can actually get you to be on stage instead of hiding in the wings. If you're committed to this, in the face of nerves and in the face of unconfidence, is that a word? I don't know. In the face of lack of confidence, your commitment can fuel you taking those couple steps on stage and singing, getting in the recording booth, playing a song for somebody else, whatever it is you're working on. The commitment through the fear, through the anxiety, and training ourselves and our nervous system to slowly take these things as less of a threat is how we get there. To notice what the gremlin voice is saying and when it's coming up, and to start to see that as a pattern that doesn't concern you. It's just biology. Taking little steps to do that, that will get you where you want to go. That will get you out on stage, that commitment to your goal and to being the singer that you want to be. Instead of waiting to feel like you're confident before you do that, never going to happen. So that's what I have to say. That, in my mind, is a realistic meme instead of just like, just be confident, you got this. I say that all the time too, because people need to hear it. As a vocal coach, I think sometimes people just need a cheerleader, and I try and tap into those moments and be that, but not a toxic positive cheerleader, a realistic cheerleader. Like, I know you got this because you just did it, right? I have evidence. I know. Now your job is to know. And that's what community is for. Having somebody who can be there for you and say, no, your brain is lying to you. You literally just did this. It's possible. What do you need to tell yourself that you can so we can do it again? Repeatable, sustainable. Up and up and up and up and up. It takes time, but that's why we're here. And that's why my program is 6 months and not 2 months. It takes a good commitment. And I'm super glad that you all are doing it. You're doing the thing. You're doing the things that you need to do. You're on your correct path where you are, and you're creating community. Even if it just starts with me, cool. I'm here to do that for you. It's great. Borrow your cat, borrow your dog, borrow your best friend, and tell them, hey, I just need you to be a support system right now, because the voices in my head are doubting all over me, and I don't need more of that in my life. So do some scoping out of the people that you surround yourself with. Are they the ones that are going to lift you up, or are they the ones that are going to doubt you and give your gremlin fuel for its fire? I think that's all I have to say today. That was a good one. I liked it. Yeah, thanks for hanging out. Any questions I can answer while I'm still here for a little bit? I know that the couple of you that are here right now are already on board, and I'm super stoked to have you. It's gonna be such a good 6 months. I can't wait. But if anybody's watching this as a replay and you're curious about working with me or how to get a community of people yourself, Vocal Magic is open for another couple days. The doors are open. You can book a call anytime before the 14th, which is next Tuesday. But you have 4 more days to do it. You have until Friday to book a call. Thanks, Wesley. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for being here. Excited to get to work. It's gonna be good. I'm glad you like that quote, Belle. That's awesome. Yeah, if you're watching the replay and if you're curious about Vocal Magic, check my last couple posts. It's a 6-month program. It's transformational. It's whole person centered. We're talking about your technique and your mind and your nervous system and all the layers of you as a human together at the same time, so we can get you the exponential growth that you're looking for without having to come back to your mind later and feeling that it's derailing all of your progress. So this is why we're doing this now. Do I have ongoing vocal training myself? Yeah, occasionally. When I have the means for it, I will go, especially when I have issues. I have a vocal coach that I go to who she specializes in vocal pathology. So like if I'm feeling scratchy, if I'm feeling like I messed something up, like a couple years ago, I lost a couple notes at the bottom of my range. So I went to see her and she was like, could be this tight muscle, could be some reflux, could be a lot of things. Here's a couple things to do. Also go see an ENT. So it's helpful to have those people that you can check in with. And it's good to have a relationship with an ENT as a singer. Highly recommend just going and getting a scope, just like a baseline, so they can see what your folds look like when they're healthy. So if anything does go wrong, then they'll know a lot easier. How long did I train? When I was first starting, I did classical lessons for 3 years. Yeah. And then I did, she stopped teaching, and then I went to another teacher who was more kind of a soul pop focus. And she actually helped me record my very first EP, which was awesome. She helped me build up the confidence to actually record. And that was another 2 years. Yeah. So I like that because I had a kind of a very wide range of coaching that I've had. And then I've had lots of musical theater coaching from all my directors that I've had in the last couple of years. And I've done a lot of coaching of myself since I've been down the rabbit hole of vocal coaching. I watch many YouTube videos all the time, and I try stuff out on myself, and I'm like, that's awesome. I learn something new every day. Have books that I love to read about it. Yeah, it's super fun. What helped me progress the fastest in the beginning? The fastest. I don't know the answer to that question, because I fully believe that everything happened at the right rate for me. Yes, I was making up for lost time. A lot of my early 20s, I just kind of dreamed of being a singer, and I never did anything about it. And then when I finally went to my first vocal coach, I was like, I need to grow now. I need to feel better about my voice, like really now. But these things take time. It always takes time to do this very detailed muscle training, brain to muscle training. And then doing all the work underneath, it takes a while. Every week I would go to a vocal lesson, and I would learn something new about myself, and either emotionally or physically. And then during the week I would work on it little bit by little bit. Sometimes I would have a big breakthrough during the week, and I'd come back and tell her about it, but I never knew when that was going to happen. It wasn't planned. You kind of just gotta put one foot in front of the other. little baby steps, you know. Like I said, it takes a commitment of time to work on these little teeny things that sometimes you don't even realize are happening. A lot of these things I think were subconscious for me in the beginning. It was just muscle memory, practicing over and over again to get the muscle memory. And then one day I was like, oh, I just did that without even thinking about it, you know. And this is how you learn a lot of things. Like riding a bike, you don't have to think about riding a bike 20 years after you learned how to ride a bike because you just know how to do it. But when you were doing it, it felt really slow, probably for some of us. I'm sure some of us are bike riding prodigies, but yeah, I think with anything, based on our own traumas, based on our own learning style, based on your own connection with your body and your voice, it can take a lot of different lengths of time for all of us to learn based on what you already know. That's the thing, is everybody has different places they're starting and different places that they're trying to go. And so this is why I really like to have lots of one-on-one time in my programs, both in just private coaching and in the group program. Like I don't want a group program that has no private coaching time because everybody's so different. Like I can give you all this technique work, but some of you might have belting down but have no concept of your higher register. And so we really have to nail into that. So if I only spend 1 week on it, I'm doing you a disservice, you know? And so week after week, we have these live sessions because you're working on something specific. And if I hear you, we can work on the thing that you're working on. Whereas somebody else next to you might have gotten the higher register down, is working on the belt, vice versa, you know, or something else. It takes a while. So I don't know how to answer that question. I'm sorry. But I think it's just good to know yourself. That always helps. If you ignore things, it's going to be slow going. It's important to learn about yourself as much as you can. Learn your patterns. Learn what is real and what's not. Learn what to believe and what to not believe. Learn who to surround yourself and who to ignore. Yeah, that's the best advice I can give you to progress faster. But it's always going to be you, but it is for you individually. So hopefully that helps. All right, I think I'm going to go. I got a student in a little bit, but it was lovely being here with you. Thank you for hanging out. And I'm here for you. I'm excited to start my new Vocal Magic cohort. If you're in it and you're watching, hello. I will send you an email in the next couple of days, and we are going to get started on next week. And I can't wait. If you're curious about vocal magic, if you have friends that are curious about singing, send them my way. I have a couple spots on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I think, for calls. And then we're done. So, yeah, let me know. Happy to answer any questions you have about the program. But the easiest way is just to go book a call with me, because we can chat in person and on Zoom, and I can send you all the information so you can look into it all before then as well. So I love you all. Have a lovely day. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for being here. And I'll see you later. I'm a weirdo.